So Tim, you have an illustrious history with Star Trek. And what I really want to talk to you today about is Star Trek Renegades.
Right.
Which, well, I'll let you run with it. What can you give me the very high-level pitch? What is Star Trek Renegades?
Star Trek Renegades is essentially a mission to help prevent a disaster that is coming to Earth, except for the fact that it operates outside of the bounds of the Federation. It operates outside the regulations of the Federation. So it's an undercover type of operation. So that's the basic idea and the basic pitch. I dare say, I make the analogy sometimes to the Middle Ages when you had the pirate ships on the open seas. Sometimes the major countries that were being raided would make a deal with the pirates to not raid their ships, but only their enemies' vessels, and so that they would sort of be working under the table to accomplish the goal for those countries. So that's a loose analogy, but essentially, Renegades, the whole idea and the concept behind Renegades is, as far as Star Trek goes, is that we are pushing the boundaries. We're going forward. We go forward in time over a decade.
So this is taking place within normal continuity, like Voyager, Next Generation, DS9 universe?
Yes, it's in that universe, but it's about 11 years, maybe 12 years in the future from that point in time. So politically things have changed. There are things changing in terms of the outlying areas of the Federation space. There are new characters introduced into this story, and Renegades essentially. The main idea is that this is different than what we've seen before.
Okay.
And there'll be a lot of things that will be a little bit different.
It's a new type of storytelling, new opportunities.
New type of storytelling, new concept, new look. Also some of the characters that we are familiar with in terms of some of the other shows, if you see them, they may be a little bit different as well.
Interesting. So, okay, well, let's start at the top. Will you be reprising your role?
Yes, I will be playing myself as Tuvok, and I will be working with Walter Koenig's Chekhov as well.
And this is not an alternate universe. This isn't mirror. This is
real time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what were you saying? There's other people who aren't recognizable.
They are recognizable, but they will be a little bit different for different reasons.
Okay.
They may have gone through some changes in that 11-year period, and thus they will not be exactly the same. They will be the same characters and same people, but they will be a little bit different than the way we've seen them. And that may be based on what they're doing and what their choices have been over the last 10 years.
Well, I mean, sure, it's been 10 years. A lot can happen.
Exactly.
Garrett Wang is in it. Is he reprising his role?
Yes, Garrett will be back as Kim.
Is he still an ensign?
No, he's not an ensign.
Okay.
And we're not even sure, how he's affiliated with the Federation in that sense by this point in time. Also, the Doctor's going to be back as well. We're looking at the Doctor's character.
Oh, great.
Also, somewhat different than what we knew him before. So there are some minor changes. My character will be basically the same, and Chekhov as well. However, our purpose and our roles within the story will probably be different than what we've seen before.
Let's talk a little about what not Tuvok, but your role in this production, or at least the first episode, is as director.
Right.
And you also directed Of Gods and Men.
Yes.
First question, when did you first get the directing bug?
Well, I started on the series Voyager. We had an opportunity, by the grace of the executive producer, Rick Berman at the time, to be able to intern, if you will, behind the scenes during the entire production process of each one of the episodes. And if we were interested in directing, we'd have to put in our time doing that for about 3 years.
Wow.
And so I spent a lot of time not only on the set, observing on the set when I was working and asking questions of the DP, but I spent a lot of time sitting in the editing room with the editor, cutting raw footage together. And that's really where you really learn, how the camera works and what you're gonna have once you're finished shooting. Because when you're shooting, you have to see that as you're doing it. You have to see how that's going to play out in your mind before you shoot it. And so that I spent time doing that. We spent time in production meetings and then also in the editing process with the producers in post to see what he preferred and didn't prefer. And you have to have that information because as a director for television, you're basically working for the executive producer and not for yourself.
Now, what do you mean? What does that mean?
Essentially, in television, the executive producers are the ones who control the entire process, and they also basically determine the look and feel of the piece. So each series has a certain look and feel. If you watch CSI, it always looks basically the same. It's lit the same, it's got certain types of shots. The DPs that you work with, directors of photography for these shows, basically know how, you know, the show's supposed to look and how it's, you know, they shoot in a certain style. When you come on as a director, you're there basically just to get the show in the can and along the lines of the way the show is designed to look. So if you direct a pilot, for example, you as the director are setting the tone for that series. So if I am directing Renegades and it becomes a television project, the tone, the way, and the look and feel of the show that we're establishing now will more than likely be what carries over if it's picked up as a show. It will continue to look similar in style. So as opposed to shooting a feature like Gods and Men, which the directors tend to have more say-so about how the film is going to look and feel. The director is the one that has control of almost all of that. So much more influence with the director on a feature film as opposed to any kind of television project where you're basically working for the producers.
Is the goal behind Star Trek Renegades to be sort of like a new media pilot for a television, like a studio-based TV show?
Absolutely. We're taking great pains in terms of working with the art direction, with the writers, with the actors, is to establish a new look for the series. We want something that's new. We don't want to do the same thing we've already seen.
Been done.
Yeah, we want to go beyond that in terms of look and the feel, a little bit more edge, a little bit more pace, and in terms of not only the characters but just the way it's shot. So we want to go beyond that. Also the way the costumes will be laid out, et cetera, et cetera. We're working on entirely different looks for the costumes, and all that stuff is designed to set us apart. As a new series, even more so than a feature, we would be establishing this new look and feel. Next Gen came out, you know, as opposed to the original series, completely new look and feel.
Sure.
Now we're going to take it to the next level and do something, again, very different than what we had.